Love is the doctrine of this church, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God. Amen. Hi, I'm Victoria Weinstein, the minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Greater Lynn, and I greet you from my backyard in Lynn, where I'm waiting for rain, or I'm hoping for rain. We're in mid-August already, and it's been a really dry season. So speaking of August, this month we have been offering what we're calling Summer Sundays, and what we've been doing lately is what I'm calling Audio Divina, in which we're sharing special pieces of music that have a lot of meaning for us right now. And I hope that that will encourage you to listen or listen again to music or writings or sayings that seem to be calling out to you right now, or trying to touch you on a deeper level in your being, because they have special wisdom for you. Whenever there is that sense of being drawn to something, there's something in that for you. It's a word of love from creation to your heart. So this week we have Sarah Cecil sharing a piece, and then next week I believe we have Kaleb Thomas. I also wanted to let you know that there are some other things coming up. And before I do, I want to really thank our reopening task force, which is a group of wonderful people who are meeting twice a month to consider how we as a community might convene on our own property. Not inside yet, but of course we're thinking way ahead to when we might be able to do that. But right now we're even considering, gathering in the parking lot has safety and public health concerns. It's so much more complicated than I would have ever imagined. And I know so many of you are engaged in these deliberations in your own workplaces, in your own communities, and in your own families. So I want to again thank them. They meet twice a month, which is more often than our Board of Trustees is meeting. So when I say that I'm hoping some of these events are coming up, again, the reopening task force is helping program leaders figure out how can we safely do this down to every little detail, and can we do it? So many things to think about. The first thing is that I want to just remind you that we had the social justice ministry team. We had an anti-racist, a congregational-wide anti-racist initiative, and we recommended 2 books. The winds are picking up. So You Want to Talk About Race by Ijeoma Oluwa, and How to Be an Anti-Racist by Ibram X. Kendi. We are going to be hopefully planning a social justice hosted social gathering with a little bit of programming soon, not just to check in on these books, which we'll be offering opportunities to discuss in groups online throughout the year, but also to just check in about other things we are doing on behalf of justice and service on the North Shore and nationally. So keep an eye on your weekly update, keep an eye on the church Facebook page, keep an eye on the website for news about that. We're hoping to do something within the next few weeks. Also within the next few weeks, we usually have our In-Gathering Sunday, the Sunday after Labor Day. Well, this year we will have our In-Gathering Sunday virtually, but here's what I'm hoping. The Sunday before Labor Day, September 2nd, I think it is, yeah. I would like to schedule a drive-up water communion so that you can come in safely in your car. We can get out one at a time, or family unit one at a time, and share our water into a common vessel. And what we'll do is we'll video record that so that I can then edit that together as part of our virtual online worship. So things are happening. We're doing what we can. And I feel so grateful for the technology that does allow us to see each other, to stay in touch. And so with that spirit of gratitude, I invite you to enter into that place of honesty and that place of peace and that place of deep connection that is worship. Welcome.
He sits in the corner when nobody sees. He's the kid with the story no one would believe. He prays every night, dear God, won't you please, won't you send someone here who will love me? He says, who will love me for me? Not for what I have done or what I will become. Who will love me for me? 'Cause nobody has shown me what love really means. Her office is shrinking a little each day. She's a woman whose husband has run away. She'll go to the gym after working that day. Maybe if she were thinner, then he would have stayed. She says, who will love me for me? Not for what I have done or what I will become. Who will love me for me? 'Cause nobody has shown me what love really means. He's waiting to die as he sits all alone. He's a man in a cell who regrets what he's done. He utters a cry from the depths of his soul. Oh Lord, please forgive me, I wanna go home. Then he hears a voice from deep down inside. It says, I know you've murdered and I know you've lied. I've watched you suffer for all of your life, and now that you'll listen, I'll tell you that I will love you for you, not for what you have done or what you will become. I will love you for you, and I'll show you this love like you never knew. I will love you for you, not for what you have done or what you will become. I will love you for you, and I'll show you a love like you never knew. Hello everybody, my name is Kaleb Thomas, and I just performed for you the song What Love Really Means by J.J. Heller. It's a song that I had first heard, I think, when I was in junior high or high school, a little while ago, about 8 years or so, I think it is now. And the other day, actually, right before Kenneth asked me to do this little segment for you, I was out on the fire escape with my good friend B, and we were just going through different songs that we liked, and I was just thinking of old songs I hadn't heard in a long time. I was like, oh, I know that song, let's play that on ukulele, I bet that will sound nice. And I think it sounded it's fun to play. It's a nice kind of acoustic. Even the professional recording is acoustic. And it's just a very sweet melody with a very powerful lesson. So for those of you who don't know me, I don't know if I introduced myself. My name is Caleb, and I have been a member of the UUCGL choir for going on 2 years now. My 2-year anniversary is, I think, the beginning of next month, or maybe it's this month. It's been 2 years, so I don't know if I exactly remember. But I am from Ohio, born and raised, spent most of my growing up in Canton. I come from a very conservative Christian family. My father's actually a Baptist pastor. And big family. My immediate family wasn't too huge, but lots of cousins, lots of aunts and uncles, lots of grandparents, and we all grew up very close. So when I was leaving Ohio for the first time, my parents wanted me to go to a Christian college, so I ended up at Gordon, which is in Wenham, and spent 4 years there. Now I live in Providence, so it's a little bit of a drive to get to the church, but I still try and make it work every Sunday if I can. It's well worth the drive, and there's no traffic on Sunday mornings, which is great. So that's a little bit about my background. Now, why did I choose this song? Why does this song speak to me, and why do I think it should speak to you? So the song is called What Love Really Means, and it goes through the stories of 3 anonymous people. The first one being a boy with a very difficult story. That story is left kind of unwritten. You can write it yourself. And then there is the woman whose husband was unfaithful and left her. And she is now suffering from some sort of body dysmorphia, saying the line, if she were thinner, then maybe he would have stayed, is what she's thinking. And then it goes to the most severe case, the man sitting in a cell waiting to die. We can presume he's on death row. And so it's just going through these different scenarios where people feel truly unlovable. And at the end, the story wraps up with the man hears this voice from inside within him, that says, now that you'll listen, I'll tell you that I will love you for you, not for what you have done or what you will do or what you'll become, but I love you for you. And though this song, I think, is written by a Christian singer, and it's definitely written in a Christian context, I think it can apply in a broader context. I think in some ways it can apply to self-love, love within. I think it can apply to love within a community. But most importantly, I think it comes from this kind of ethereal, supernatural love that comes from God, Jesus, enlightenment, whatever it is that you believe in, where this love comes from. For me personally, I grew up very, very Christian, but due to years and years of sort of not physical abuse within the church, but growing up LGBT in a Christian context can have lots of psychological traumas attached to it. And so at this point in time, I still loosely identify as Christian because it's how my entire psyche was formulated as I was growing up. You know, everything revolved around church and around God and around Jesus, and praying before meals, and just having that philosophy always in the back of my mind. It's still there a little bit, so I still do relate to Christianity in some ways, but there's many, many ways in which Christianity has wounded me. So while this song, I think, is intended to be the love of Christ that this man on death row finds when he's just at absolute, utter desperation, I really do believe that it can apply more broadly than that specific context. So why did I choose this song? I chose this song because I have been myself through a pretty intense journey of learning what love means, and learning especially how to love and appreciate myself and my capabilities and my body, and trying to tap into that supernatural love that exists. Like I said, growing up LGBT in a Christian context is I don't have to explain that. I'll spare you the details. But it just comes with a lot of damage of being told that you're wrong, you're incorrect, you're a mistake, that everything you feel and believe and love is sinful inherently, and that you need to seclude yourself from society and be celibate in order to be pure and to be pleasing to God. So not only did I grow up in that, I actually, being at Gordon, was in that context for the 4 years of my early academic development. And so everything that I learned as a child that I had kind of started to unlearn was just very much reinforced during those 4 years. I actually dated a woman, some of you may have met her, dated her for 2 years, and while it was a very happy and very good relationship, there came a time to be a little bit more authentic and a little bit more honest, and at that point everything kind of disintegrated. And it ended very, very poorly. I was actually homeless for a couple of days. I lost both of the dogs that we had together, moved to a new city, didn't know anyone, didn't have any family connections here. I was just utterly and completely alone. So we go from being bullied and isolated in middle school and high school, growing up in a pastor's kid and feeling like I'm continually a incorrect, sinful human, and then moving into post-relationship, being utterly and completely alone. I know my story isn't the most difficult one that you'll hear, and I know I'm not going to get into too many details of it, and I recognize the places in which I've been privileged for my gender, skin color, etc. But it doesn't mean that it hasn't had its challenging moments, especially when you sprinkle in some of the mental health issues that I've had, like anxiety and depression and struggling with an eating disorder. And those are things that I'm very open about because I think silence breeds shame, secrecy breeds shame, and being open and honest about it, these things exist, people have them, that's the way it is. So just all these things combined, loving myself and tapping into the love that the universe has just been an ongoing challenge for pretty much all of my adult life. And it wasn't until I really kind of hit rock bottom, to use a cliche, when I was completely alone in a new apartment, barely scraping by financially, that I hit a point where, strangely enough, the point was at the beginning of quarantine. As much as quarantine has been an awful, isolating experience for many, many people, it actually allowed me the time to work on friendships, especially virtual friendships, and to build those. It actually allowed me to start a new relationship, and it allowed me the time off of work to really focus on myself and my mental health. And so I was able to kind of feel my day-to-day emotional range in a way that I hadn't been able to before. When you're working 7 days a week, as I was for about a full calendar year, you're really just kind of focused on your physical needs so that way you can get up and go to work, go to sleep, get up, go to work, go to sleep, and just not really tuning into yourself and feeling what it is you need to feel. So because I wasn't focusing on any of that, I wasn't focusing on loving myself, I really just kind of was sunken for a very, very long time. But then when quarantine offered me this opportunity to open up to myself and give myself a little bit more love and tender care than I normally would have, that really changed my life. I wouldn't say that's exactly the point when I learned to love myself, because I think that's an ongoing battle that we continually fight. I don't know what it is within the human condition that causes us to reject ourselves, to dislike the things that we do dislike about ourselves, to just find every single flaw on our bodies, in our bodies, and within our psyche, and just kind of nail on it. I don't know if that's a universal experience. It's definitely been my experience. But I picked this song, What Love Really Means, because I think it demonstrates how no matter what you do, no matter who you are, what you become, or what you have been in the past, you always have the capacity and the potential for love. You always have the capacity and the potential to love yourself, to receive love, no matter who you are. I mean, you can be the most despicable human being in the world, but you can still open yourself up to love, and you can still reach a point of redemption. I don't believe that anyone is past redemption. I do believe that at any point in time, someone can say the right words and feel the right feelings in order to allow themselves to heal. There's things that I have done in the past that I have deeply regretted, as all of you have. Growing up, actually, with some of my Christian trauma, there were things that I had done that I had believed I had committed the unforgivable sin. Which sounds funny if you've got an 11-year-old walking around the house on the verge of tears, writing a letter to mom and dad. I think I committed the unforgivable sin. I was one of those children who kept a journal, a confessions journal. So we found it actually a couple of years ago, and it was things like, I found the Christmas presents in the basement. God, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. Or just things like, please, I don't want mom and dad to give me away. I'm such a bad kid. Things like that. I was a very anxious child. So there were lots of things that I had done that I regretted, and I was just talking about thinking I'd committed the unforgivable sin. And honestly, breaking away from staunch Christian tradition and opening myself up to other ways that the universe has to show love was one of the most beneficial experiences for me, because I was able to not see love as this thing you had to be forced into, or this specific paradigm that you had to follow within this set religion, but that love is a journey, and that there's never truly a destination. But as long as you are doing your best to care for those around you, to eliminate the suffering in your community, and in the people you encounter on a day-to-day basis, and as long as you are seeking to better yourself, then you are actively performing love. And I think that's what love really means. It's knowing that it can always get better, knowing that you can always do better, knowing that you can always be better, and knowing that you can be a conduit for the love that is out there in the universe, that there is this supernatural force of love that many of us call God, that is able to kind of zap down at any moment, swoop in and actively change lives. So my process of love has very much been an ongoing and active one, especially with a lot of the events that have happened within the past year. I've been making a conscious effort to perform love politically, within my community, monetarily. But it's a challenge, and it's one that I fail quite often. But I know that no matter what I've done, no matter who I'll become, there is love for me, and that God loves me for me, and that as a human I have inherent worth, and as a human you have inherent worth. And as long as you are actively pursuing service, as long as you are actively pursuing just to bring a smile to someone's day, just to bring a laugh. That's one of the habits that I developed as a good Midwesterner, is that I'll just pick up a conversation with someone in the grocery store and try and make their day with a compliment, or just a funny side comment. As long as you're actively seeking to bring that love and light to your community and to the people around you, then you are being loved and giving love. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So when I get in those moments where I am isolated, and when I just truly feel so much self-hatred, I remember the words from the song, I will love you for you, not for what you have done or who you'll become. I'll love you for you. I'll show you a love that you never knew. And That's something that I'm still learning, and I'm excited to continue that journey with all of you in learning how to take care of myself in the way that the universe would have me take care of myself, and how to take care of the people around me in the way that the universe would have me take care of the people around me. Despite the shame, despite the regret, despite the self-hatred that also can coexist with the self-love, there's always room for growth. There's always room for improvement, and there's always room for a little more love. And so that active process and that growth, that's what love really means.
I invite you now to join me in the spirit of meditation and prayer. Now that you'll listen, I'll tell you that I will love you for you, not for what you have done or what you will do or what you'll become. I'll love you for you. It is so important to learn how to love ourselves, all of ourselves, mind, body, and soul. But that is really difficult. We are never told at any age that we are completely lovable and worthy and valued. We are given messages very early on in our lives that there are parts of us that are wrong and bad, parts that we shouldn't share, parts of ourselves that if people knew about them, they would reject us. And some of us, dear God, have even learned that the Creator, the magnificent, unnameable force that makes and sustains all life, won't love us if we are a certain way. And so we turn to self-improvement. If I look this way, if I learn these things, or if I behave like that, I might deserve love. But you didn't need to do any of that to deserve love. You have always deserved love. And you always will deserve love. So, Spirit of Wisdom, help us see that self-improvement is not the same as spiritual growth. Spiritual growth doesn't seek improvement and perfection or attaining an ideal. Spiritual growth, the spiritual journey, is one toward integration, wholeness, coming to peace within ourselves, and learning how to be present to all that is, even our own perfections, our own pain, and our own struggles. In this moment, and in days and weeks to come, may we be in touch with, may we feel held by that transcendent source of love that is eternal and limitless. So may it be. Amen.